I think it's got to do with the grammar rules. The German language has very clear and very complicated grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just simplified it.
Yes, well, yeah, we didn't make much of a deal of it. Actually, that makes it harder to learn too, I guess. But it's basically a German dialect, I reckon. Although a lot of Dutch people will heavily deny that.
I bet they would.
Yeah.
I've heard them talk, and I can't understand the flipping word that him says.
Yeah. And the odd thing is, I think of all the languages, Dutch is probably the closest to English.
Mm-hmm.
Only the pronunciations may be very confusing, and it's very harsh.
Hey, I speak English, and I have a hard time doing that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a. Where are you from? You have a southern accent, more or less.
Yeah, from Tennessee.
Okay, I've been
in the
there.
U.S.
Yeah, I've been in Knoxville. My sister-in-law is not in high school. Yeah, it was high school for a few years.
Where
in Knoxville.
Knoxville, yeah, I'm about 20 miles from there.
Ah, good.
I'm in between the Smoky Mountains and Knoxville.
Yeah, I mentioned the Smoky Mountains a few weeks ago. Remember?
Yeah.
I visited a ghost town there. I don't know. Are there many ghost towns there, sort of abandoned and?
Yeah, probably. I know there's. There's probably a few. I'm not sure where they're at, but.
The weathers are very extreme there. If you're high up, it can be pretty cold, and there's ice in the summer at some parts, I reckon.
Yeah, sometimes the Smokies have snow on them in the summer. I've seen it.
Yeah, and then you go down just half an hour or so, and then you're in tropical weather all of a sudden.
Okay, we're live.
Yeah, I'm about 25 miles from the Smokies, as the crow flies.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, we're live. We're live, and let me just introduce myself and my guests here. My name is Draxter Dupre. I'm here with Arduenn Schwartzman, and you can see in the back kind of where we are. We're actually in Bay City, which is interesting. Which is a kind of a liberal place in Second Life, and but Donald Trump has built a mansion here. And so we're gonna talk.
Well, he's a builder, right? So
that's right. He builds and
he can build what he wants where he wants to.
That's right. And we have a guest here. Please introduce yourself, Zach.
Zach Isaacs from the U.S.
Zach Isaacs, and we are streaming our normal Sunday Euro brunch, as we call it. Sunday Euro Brunch with Drax and Arduenn today from the Trump mansion here in Second Life. And we're gonna
test my gestures, obnoxious gestures too.
Right. So before we go to Zach and everything, Zach, please bear with us. But I wanted to kind of ask Arduenn a little bit about his week. We're not streaming from the welcome area today, but I put the word out, so maybe people will show up. We don't know, but we have lots to talk about. Anyway.
Hey, wait a minute. Is that a Mexican flag behind us?
Where?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you. Well, first of all, how are you doing, Art? While I'm researching the flag.
I feel better again. I don't want to bring this up again like a few weeks ago, that I mentioned. I asked my general practitioner, and she said I had labyrinthitis.
What the hell is that?
There's apparently a labyrinth in my head, and it was inflamed. That's what it basically means, I guess.
A labyrinth.
But
one could argue that a lot of people there's a labyrinth, and you don't know where you are inside that labyrinth.
It's one of the sensory organs that makes you get a sense of equilibrium. That your motion is you're turning or twisting or rolling or rocking or whatever, and it helps you stay upright. And it was inflamed, and it was the most weird experience. But I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I could finally put a label on it, so that's what I had, and I want to leave it at that. So that was my week.
So if you feel better now, you can stand up and stuff.
Yeah, I had bronchitis too. I had the flu and bronchitis, but it's more or less on the. Okay,
Crap.
I want to stop talking about my personal problems here.
No, I mean, Arduenn, as you know, as we get older, all we talk about is basically medical issues, right?
Yes,
There we go.
I'm better
Oops.
now after a few alcoholic beverages,
that'll do
medicines,
it.
Right. Zach will bring you in a minute. Please bear with us. So now, so here we are at Trump Mansion, and let me just cam in because we noticed that it's gonna throw you out, right? There's private security,
Yeah.
Arduenn. You
If
tried that?
Yeah, you can open the gate. I'll do it for you. See,
Yeah.
they open up.
So the
Very
gate opens
welcoming.
up.
And then you walk in and you get a warning message. You'll be ejected within 30 seconds. And,
Right. Does the warning message say if you're Mexican or Muslim, you get ejected, and white Christian Americans can
uh,
stay, or what?
I don't know. I'm slightly. My skin's slightly tinted. That's because my father was born in Indonesia, which is a
What?
former
Your
Dutch
father
world
was born in
colony.
Indonesia? I'm sitting at the
Yeah,
table
he's.
with one of them, like mixed people and whatnot. Are you telling me
Yeah.
that?
I'm sort of a little brownish. I don't know if that played a role, but I think it's a general thing. But what vexes me most is that this mansion has a security system. That's not mine. I sell security systems. This this program was brought to you by Arduenn Schwartzman Security Systems.
You know what? You should really tell Trump that you have a much better security system because I mean,
Hell.
Yeah,
security is
it's free.
everything.
It's a really great. It's a tremendously great security system. It's made in by penguins in Antarctica, and no penguins were harmed by developing this security system.
Okay, we're streaming a live infomercial here from
Oh
Arduenn
God.
Industries, who claims that they can. Now, Arduenn, are you claiming that you can also build a better wall? I mean, you're in security, so
Oh
you're
yeah.
saying you can
Oh
make a
my
better
my
security
my
system?
wall would go into the stratosphere. I don't know about Trump, but mine would go at least 30 miles up. All the way up there.
All
So
the way up there into the heavens of
yeah.
Second Life.
Yeah, I mean your weather balloon would pop before it would have reached the edge of the wall. So
I'm camming inside, but my audio is tied to my location. I just want to show people here inside real quick. We might not hear you, Arduin, so let me just describe what I see inside. Here's beautiful pictures on the wall of various guns. Really nicely done. There's a Glock, couple of Glocks. I mean, I'm not a specialist in firearms, but beautiful. Here's a maybe is this a Winchester or something a little bit more traditional. Then of course all sorts of
Smith and Wesson, they make neat guns. I think. Do
sort
they
of
have
assault
Dirty
rifles.
Harry guns in there, or
Here's a
Dirty Harry are
beautiful
the Smith and Wesson, right?
head of a of a deer. There's a foosball table here, and there's several pictures here on the wall. I can buys war bonds, selling your victory. Democracy is truth. Communism is death. Death is a preferable alternative to communism. These are the posters here in the Trump mansion that I can see while camming inside. Uh, it's beautiful.
I didn't know Trump was that much in politics, about
I didn't
foreign
either.
politics.
Cards Against Humanity is a party game for horrible people is also here. Then in the driveway is uh, in the driveway
It's
we
just a
have
shame that this thing is secured. I
yeah,
would
it's a
love
shame.
to have the whole thing right.
You have to cam in. You have to cam in. There's no way we can go in there. But here's a Trump car. Now Arduin and Zach, please bear with us. I'm gonna bring you
Sure,
into the
sure.
discussion, but so first
I'm,
of all,
I'm I'm having fun laughing. So go
that's
ahead.
good. That's good. And people are welcome to join us if people see the stream. I think I put the slurl into the stream so you can stop by, or you can just ask us.
Good.
But so wait a minute, Arduin, did we verify what flag this is? So there's an American flag
It
here at the
looks
Trump mansion.
Italian.
Yeah.
No, Mexican.
Is that because the workers who built the wall are living in
Or
the mansion?
Mexicans.
No,
Yeah,
this is not a Mexican flag. I'm looking up the Mexican flag because the Mexican flag has a
could be no Italian. Let
is
me see.
It looks
green
Italian.
Green, white, orange,
Italian
and
flag.
vertical stripes. Green, white. I depend on Google. Green,
Me
white,
too.
orange.
No, the Italian flag
Oh, that
is
would be Irish. No,
is this an
that's
Irish
that's
flag?
horizontal. That's horizontal. Oh, here it is. This is Ivory. No, Ivory Coast is orange, white.
This
Well,
is
if you
Ivory
look at
Coast
the
flag, dude.
flag from one, yeah, Ivory Coast. Now
Oh my
that's
God,
peculiar, isn't it?
that is peculiar. What do you think that means, Arduenn? That Donald Trump has an Ivory Coast flag on his mansion's property?
I'm going to Google the Mexican flag too, because my encyclopedic knowledge stops sort of at the Mexican. Oh, there you go. That Mexican flag is green, white, red
Yeah,
in
and it has a
vertical
nice picture in the middle.
stripes.
The national coat
Yeah,
of
of
arms.
a eagle. I don't know. Is it eagle or a vulture? I think it's a snake eagle. It eats snakes.
No, no. You know
And
what
there's
it
a
does? It eats health insurance that they steal when they come over with their anchor babies. Is what it does. Listen,
there's a
Arden,
big
you don't
cactus on it
understand.
too.
You should understand
That,
this, Arden, because your father was coming illegally to this country, trying to make you as an
yeah,
anchor baby so that you can just be sick all the time, like you mentioned earlier, and then skim off
yeah.
this beautiful health insurance that they give you in the Netherlands, right?
And I blame my Indonesian genes as that I catch the flu all the time and the secondary infections
Yeah, you're
with
just
it.
not strong enough of a people.
I'm I bet I'm way more resistant to malaria and all these tropical diseases. I'm just not used to these Western flu-like things.
Okay, let's talk a little bit, Trump. Now, I want to ask you, you're in Holland in real life. What
Yeah.
do people think when they hear when they talk about the Trump phenomenon? Do people in Holland talk about Trump phenomenon,
Oh, absolutely.
and how
Yeah.
do they actually talk about it? Or um,
There's there's pretty much two camps in the Netherlands too, very similar to the US.
uh-huh.
There's one camp that thinks, well, Trump's a very, very interesting and very attractive alternative to the establishment, so to speak. And these people tend to be the people who also tend to vote for a more or
Geert
less
Wilders?
populist party called the Party of the Freedom
Hmm.
here. And Geert Wilders, yes, you mentioned him. Oh, he's known abroad too,
Oh yeah,
apparently.
yeah.
He's also sort of focused a lot on Islam.
Hmm.
That's one of his pet peeves, I think,
Yeah.
in
What
Dutch
does he say,
politics.
if you can summarize this in a couple sentences? So Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, what does he say about Islam? What's the problem with Islam?
He
Let me
says
properly
it's
pronounce it. Sorry,
an
is
yeah,
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Sorry.
Um,
Zach will bring you in a
um,
second. Go ahead.
I would pronounce it in the Arabic way. I don't know. I can only guess actually, but I would say Islam.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But there's a large Islamic community in the Netherlands too, like in many European countries,
Yeah.
um, and a lot of them are more or less uh, uh, concentrated in certain areas, and a lot of them aren't the richest people around, and the social, like, not the socially, economically highest achieved people around. So there's a lot of unrest,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of youth that
But does Gerd Wilders say that this is really interesting what you're saying. I'm wondering if Gerd Wilders is saying the problem with Islam is that they taking jobs away from hardworking Dutch people, or is the problem of terrorism bigger? What, or is it kind of 50-50?
There's a large Islamic group in Europe and in the Netherlands that are they're off the radar. They're just people participating in society, but there's a small part of them, some youth in suburbs of the largest cities like Rotterdam and Amsterdam, that really reach the mainstream media a lot, and they tend to be on the criminal side. It's what they call in the Netherlands the Moroccan problem, because the majority of Islamic people are from Morocco.
Okay. Let me throw, and now we're gonna bring in Zach real quick because I want to hear about why Trump. But last question to you, Arduenn, and then we'll go back and forth on this. Has it occurred to Mr. Wilders that concentrating young people in lower socioeconomic status with no opportunity in a foreign country is maybe a problem? I shouldn't say foreign country. Isn't that maybe a problem for young people, across the board? Maybe if you put them in places where there is a lot of density and tension and no economic opportunity, that they become violent and possibly a little bit.
They radicalize, and they tend to be swayed by certain people to travel to Syria or Iraq, but mostly Syria, and get trained there and join the jihad, the war against anything against Islam, and then they tend to come back. That's the fear mainly. That the Dutch Secret Service is keeping an eye on a lot of people who tend to be attracted toward jihadism, and then they go there, they get the training, and they come back, and then they tend to. What the fear here is that they will perform acts of terrorism, like we've seen in Paris and in Brussels. So.
All right. Before we go to Zach, let me just say you're watching the Sunday Euro Brunch with Drax and Arduenn, and we're talking politics. And of course, since I'm the moderator here, I have the privilege of just throwing out my opinion. And my opinion is such that if you don't give anybody any opportunity, and you make this sort of black and white us against them thing, that narrative is very attractive to people between 17 and 25. And I think we could use our money to really make an inclusive society, and then we could take care of this problem much more efficiently than actually creating even more resentment, which in a conflict that it really has nothing to do with West against East. It's a struggle within Islam as much as it's a struggle within the Western world. In many ways, some people want to turn back the clock to the Middle Ages, and others want to move forward in terms of LGBT rights and such. But enough about me. Zach Isaacs is with us. He's been with us before. Can I ask you why Trump is so attractive to you? What does Trump offer? What do you expect from Trump when he becomes president? What do you think he's going to do?
I believe he's going to do what he said he was going to do. Strengthen the military, he said, so strong that nobody will challenge it. He's going to fix the economy. I know he can do that, being a multi-billionaire, and he's a success in that.
That would be a very interesting thing to watch develop, yes, because he's a businessman, and he runs companies, and so in one way I'm really curious in how the American economy would develop with him.
Well, yes, you can look at running the country like a company.
And that works for you? I'm sorry, I wanted to give you opportunity to a little bit more other things that he's going to do. What other things do you think he's going to, or he has to do, or he will do?
Well, I know one thing he has to do is to deport illegals. Now, I know this is going to take a long time and make two terms to do it, but he's got his heart set on getting rid of illegals, no matter what country they are from.
Okay, now my question is about the business thing. Now, my opinion is on the record. I think if you run a country like a business, what you're gonna end up with is to hire and fire. And Zach, that's surprising to me because you told me last time
Yeah,
you
you're
were at
right.
a gas station and then you were fired. And as far as I know, they really didn't care much about what would happen to you if they fired you. I mean, if the country would
No,
run
that
like
I
that,
worked for I worked for the sheriff's department. Yeah, they didn't really care. So yeah, you are right about the business model in the country.
and and here's one thing, Zach, because this is something I don't understand. I understand when somebody says, okay, here's a successful guy, and I trust him because he's successful. But let's look at this, and you can look this up after the show. Uh,
Okay.
Donald Trump had four or more bankruptcies. He drove
Yeah,
things into the toilet. Now, I am of the
that's
mindset that you have to make mistakes in order, it's good to make mistakes because then you learn from them and stuff like that. I have no problem with that. But he talks
hmm
about his business success all the time. But frankly, let's look at this. He started off with a bit with a lot of money. He didn't start from zero. He's not like a self-made man. He started with a lot of money, and he
hmm
destroyed a lot of businesses. Not all of his stuff is successful.
you are right. But he's still to me and to most Americans a better
Alternative.
he'd be a better president than what you know way better than what you have in there or what the liberals confront and put out.
Okay. Now let's see. And the military. You don't think the military is strong enough? What do you exactly mean? Because I think there is billions being spent for the
They're
military, but they're not spent for the veterans. Look, the veterans are
right.
they don't get anything. Do you think he's gonna care for the people?
He said that he's going to start taking care of the veterans, and I believe he'll do that. But you're talking about the military itself. It's been cut 12 times over the last 7 years, and they're even going so far as to cutting the soldiers' pay again and again and again. So
Um,
people are encouraged not to join the military because of Obama.
really? What?
Yeah.
Arden, real quick, turn down your microphone. You're breathing too hard.
Oh, sorry, I'm moving it down again. Yeah, I'm walking around like a polar bear.
In
That's
circles,
it.
in real life.
In circles, yeah, in my room. I need some exercise, but I've got a wireless headset. Okay, you wanted
Hell,
to ask
so
me my opinionated opinion on something?
No, first let's Zachary finish because with the military thing, this is
Yeah.
something that talk about. There are companies who supply the military with all sorts of technology. These guys are making billions of dollars. I don't think that is Obama's. How is that tied in with Obama?
He because he cut the I know for a fact, I don't know how many times, but he did cut the defense spending, which hurt the military in itself. I don't know, at least 7 or 8 times. Every
I think
time
that's
that,
it's very
and he
similar
did
to
it
European
himself.
countries.
It wasn't the Congress. It was Obama himself was the one that did it.
Okay, but
He's got this.
when we talk about the military, let's just talk about on the one hand equipment and stuff, and on the other hand people, because what I see is that and I know a lot of people who work in that military complex, and that's their way of income. And when they get out
Hmm.
and they're veterans, they're tossed to the side. We in Germany call that
I
cannon
know.
fodder. Nobody cares
Hmm.
about them. They all go like, "Oh, let's support the troops," and they put a "support the troops" sticker on their Porsche Cayenne or SUV, whatever. And then that's that. And nobody really supports them. Nobody really cares. They just sent them overseas. I don't
You
see, and you're talking about what's being cut. You're right, the military has been cut with those sequester things, but what has also been cut is education. And there are roofs, leaky roofs in schools. There are bridges collapsing. I don't know. Is that the country you want? You want?
you are right. You are right, I guess, about the military, and you're right about the infrastructure too. Bridges are collapsing, and roads are too. those are problems that need to be addressed. He's going to have buku problems to deal with when he gets in.
Okay, let me ask you another question here. With the deport illegals, I don't want to address this because I think, frankly, from my point of view,
That's logistically and also humanitarily quite
yeah, from an ethical standpoint, I
quite
find
a
it,
job.
but I could also say pragmatically, I don't know who's gonna pick your strawberries, man. You're gonna be in a hell lot of trouble, and even Donald Trump will be in a lot of trouble because who's gonna
Yeah.
wash the dishes at his resorts? Those are illegal people, although he claims otherwise. There's tons of records.
You're
You know,
Well,
if you want to
there's
go
other
to,
examples
about
too. I mean, there's illegal aliens who are more or less settled in American society, or similar to European.
but
But
look at
they
it.
have kids. They were born in the United States,
Uh-huh.
or they were born in any European country, and they were raised, and they were all brought up with all the beneficial stuff that our cultures have to offer, and all of a sudden they will have to be deported too. Then I guess.
Is it illegal to cross the borders in your country?
yeah, this is a good
Well,
point.
I'm well, if you go past Greece, I guess, if you go across the European Union borders, yeah,
Wait,
you'll have to provide some sort of identification or something, or there's a visa policy.
Zach, you're
But
making a good
Well,
point.
we've
among
got-
the EU countries, it's like the states, you know.
I'm assuming with your
We need a
question.
wall. We've got so much open space from California, New Mexico, and Arizona and Texas that is wide open where the fence is gone. There's no border patrol agents patrolling some areas, and they're just walking across. You know.
Okay. First of all, the facts are that immigration into the U.S. from Mexico and other Latin American countries is actually down because the conditions in those countries are getting better and nobody even wants to come to the U.S. anymore, and I don't blame them. Because if you look at some of the conditions that people in the U.S. live in with no health insurance, with no access to clean water, like in Flint where there's rust in the water and lead and everything, people stay home. So that's number one. Number two,
I think the Canadians would stay home, yeah.
oh, the
Yeah,
Canadians stay
yeah,
home for
Canadians
sure.
would stay home.
Yeah, but the
Somebody
Mexicans,
made
but the Mexicans
somebody
as well.
made a point about putting Mexican illegals on a train and hauling them all the way to Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of space in Canada, that's for sure.
Okay, I don't know what the
But,
Mexicans are do. See, this is I don't understand this. I don't understand what the Mexicans are doing that is so hurtful, other than
Well,
cleaning the
well,
bathrooms.
imagine living in Mexico. What do you hear as someone not coming from Mexico? What do you hear? What's going on there? It's drugs and cartels and violence and
Yeah, it's worse than it is
poverty
in the US.
and huge overpopulation at the big cities. And
Yeah, we've
so
got. Go ahead.
if I were a Mexican, I'd definitely try by all means to go to the US.
Okay,
or to
what
Canada,
Arduenn is talking
if
about is
possible.
that we're creating conditions for people who are leaving. That's absolutely right. So a much more long-term plan is to actually fix conditions in countries so that people don't have to migrate. But migration is always happening.
Yeah.
But let me say another thing real quick here, Zach, because let me ask you, if I were to give you the opportunity to go to any doctor, I'm gonna give you three things, and you tell me if you want it, leave it, take it or leave it. So number one,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the opportunity to go to any doctor at any point in time, to any hospital. If you go to a hospital, you pay maybe $50 for an overnight stay, and they fix you up, whatever, and you go to any doctor. That includes dental and vision. Okay, number one.
Okay.
This is a package I'm giving to you, and you tell me if you want it or not. Number two, your kids and yourself can go. You can go back to school for free to learn a trade or a job or whatever that is going to make you competitive in this economy. If you wanted to go back to work, if not, then you'll get a money that you can live off of. That's number two. But number three, your kids can go to any school, and the quality is of a private school, but it's free. Then the third one, you have public transportation where you can hop on a train to go anywhere you like, and it's if you have a disability or if you're older, it's practically free. How about this package? Would you take this
I
package?
would, I would accept that package, but
And you know what this
isn't
package is
the
called? Let me say what this package is called.
Sounds very social.
This package is
yeah,
called
it is
socialism.
social.
It's socialism. It's democratic
Yeah.
socialism. That's what is happening in Arduenn's country. That's what is happening in my country. That's why
Okay,
I
well,
have right. Oh, sorry. I have a fourth thing on the table. The fourth thing is that the water that comes
You've
out
been
of your
preparing
tap.
for this.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
I haven't. I
I better be
I'm
taking
pulling it
notes.
out of my butt.
Okay.
No. Wait.
Let me get a piece of paper.
The fourth thing is you get water out of your tab that is as clean and pristine as the water that Nestle sells you for $1.50 a bottle.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
I'm here in Limburg. Have you heard of it? Limburg.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the smelly cheese comes from, right?
Yeah.
The water from the tap is pretty good here. Yeah. It's a little.
I do
chalky.
have one question though.
of course.
I lived in Holland. The water tastes like chlorine there, though.
It tastes like chlorine here too, but we've got hard water, you know, and it causes
Die
problems
Deutsche Heitheit.
and it causes problems with what you drink unless you have a water purification system that gets rid of
But
everything.
why, Zach? Why is the water that bad? And I can tell you the answer. But I want to
Go ahead.
ask you, why is the water so bad?
I have no idea.
Because
It's always I'm 57 and it's always been like this.
I would say what is happening in Flint right now, where there's lead in the water and children are dying and not dying, but they have basically things that are gonna have to deal with their entire lives because of the lead in the water. The reason
They're making
why
use
there
of
is-
old water infrastructure,
The
right?
reason why there's lead in
Probably.
the water is because private managers of that city have made a calculation to save money because they didn't frankly care about the people who were impacted. They were saving $100 a day to not improve the infrastructure, number one, and not to get the water from a better source.
Well, it's always been like this for the most part.
Sounds like a bunch of policymakers over there in Flint, Michigan, made a few bad calculations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the government.
But I do have one question.
Sure.
In you guys' as countries, you know, where you have all the free healthcare and the free education.
Yeah, we want free shit because we're lazy.
It's
Go
not
ahead.
for free though. We have to pay a few $100 per month.
That's what I'm
Depending
talking
on
about.
the family
That's
size.
the taxes I was talking about. I
Yeah,
was
the
asking about.
taxes are higher. You know what? Okay, exactly. I know
Yeah.
that because that comes up, and I did prepare for that argument.
I,
Let
I
me say-
think it takes to get used to though. I don't notice anymore. It's a part of our life.
Well, you either pay to get the the taxes to get everything free, or you pay for the medical care and everything yourself.
But why is it?
Oh
bad?
no, yeah.
Well, hold on.
You pay per month probably a lot of money in Europe.
Okay,
You never
No.
see again if you're healthy. It's all gone.
exactly. So
But
you can make the
it all
argument-
goes to the people. It all goes to the people
Who are lazy
who
and sick.
are who are sick, and who would be ruined for life if they would have to pay for a single illness, for instance, just breaking a
I
leg.
wish you could get socialized medicine in this country. They've tried it a half a dozen times and
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
It does work, and you know what I love about America, Zach? What I love about America above Europe is that Americans, and I lived there for over 20 years, is that they
Yeah.
say we can do it, and that's what I really love.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans are way more like, I don't know if we can do it, and I always
I
Well,
say
they're
know
not
that.
saying we're not saying we can get socialized medicine here because most people just don't want it.
But why wouldn't they want it? Do you
I don't
want-
know.
Okay, listen,
I would
Zach.
take it.
Exactly, and and here's an argument, and if you have this conversation later with a friend of yours, you can use this argument. Here is what I would say. In America, there's a situation right now where, for example, a fast food worker, right? A fast food worker makes not enough money to go to the doctor. So what they do, in order not to lose their job, they will stay working at, let's say, McDonald's, although they are sick, right? And whose impact is that? Do you want your burger to be prepared by someone who
So
should
yeah,
stay
it's the
home?
customers.
Exactly. And so this is where we pay higher taxes, but it benefits the whole society. I don't have to be afraid to go to McDonald's and have somebody who
I'm for socialized medicine. I would take it.
Yeah.
I would say yeah right now.
The,
This
the thing
Obamacare
is,
is not socialized medicine. Obamacare is a tax.
yeah, it puts an
It's a
obligation
good-
to things, right? But that's
Yeah,
what
but-
happens here too.
But Arduenn,
There's
look,
one thing you have to get used to is that you will be paying for someone else. That's part of solidarity. You
that's
know,
part of a
the majority.
that's
it's
part
something
of
you have to
any
get used
complex
to.
society. You cannot
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority will take care of a minority who is too weak to take care of themselves.
Well, see, I look at it
part of
this way.
group
I believe
thing.
that people don't want socialized medicine just because of the stigma of the word itself.
That's a good point, and I think that is for people over 40. I don't have any data on that, but you're absolutely right. But the reason why in the U.S. is such a stigma, and I completely understand it, is because of this whole Cold War business. But that's why people need to be educated, that when we talk about socialized stuff, we're not talking about like the Soviet Union.
Communism.
Right,
You're
exactly.
not talking about
And
communism.
we're not
Well,
talking
there's a whole
about...
spectrum about socialism and communism and everything in between.
First of all, we're not talking about a totalitarian
It's not as much as a
system.
dirty word. Socialism is not as much as a dirty word. And
No, it's not. I would take. It's like I said. I would take it right now. I'd sign up for it right now if it was what you guys have.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I don't want to paint it like, it's everything is super rosy and fine and dandy over here. Not at all.
It's got to be better than what we have here.
We are in a global crisis in the sense that there is just a lot of inequity. And again, this leads me back to Trump, because Trump, the problem I have with Trump, aside from the whole, like, I don't know, kill people and throw them out and stuff like that, and what he does in the rallies, that reminds me of the Nazis. Dude, but I'm serious. When the Nazis came to power, they had the brown shirts. They were beating people up. And come on, you can't deny. Trump said, "Okay, if you beat people up, I'm going to pay the legal fees." That's not a joke, because some of the people will beat other people up. So he has a responsibility just as much as I have a responsibility, like to my kid. If I tell my kid, "Hey, if somebody looks at you weird, punch him in the face and I'll take care of it," I would never say that, because my kid might go like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to punch the dude on the street and my dad's taking care of it."
I think
that's what would happen.
I think this is maybe a calculated risk of Trump saying something like this. It may actually that he's trying out things. He can say
That's
whatever he wants. He once told
Like a
he could
10-year-old.
shoot someone. He could shoot someone and still not get down in the ratings.
That's right.
So he's trying. He has these.
I'm going to tell you something he says and you get done.
So what happens here is, okay, let's beat these people up because they're disturbing the peace and they're disturbing my rally, and this will probably get him more people behind him.
Well, yeah. See, this is
It's really happening. Then that there's
Donald
people
Trump may not
turning
be
against him.
perfect, but it's night and day compared to what we have in there now.
So whatever he says, it's mostly being said, I suspect, for getting more people behind him. Not because he means it. Maybe he means it. Maybe he also thinks that, violence is not the solution. But if I just advocate it, I get more voters.
You know what he said one time at a rally early on in some of the primaries?
No.
I can't remember which one. There was this woman. Now, is there any words that I can't say on the air?
No.
I'm fine. Kids are downstairs. So.
All right. Now, this woman was in close up to the dais where Trump was at, and she said Ted Cruz is a pussy.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, she did. I saw the tape of it. And Trump himself, he wasn't going to say anything, and he turned around about 10 minutes later and said the very same thing to the cameras.
Exactly, and exactly, and you guys are both making a good point, and that's pretty clear to me that he's trying out things. He's trying to be outrageous because essentially that is his business. His brand, his business is tied to outrageousness. That's clear. But and you know what we're doing now, we're we're talking about him as if this is somehow legitimate. But Zach, you're talking about that he's better than what we have now. Um,
He is.
but I really don't understand this. And let me just say this real quick. I'm not an Obama cheerleader or fan but probably from a very different reason. I think Obama is a very corporate guy, and he came out
Very similar to Clinton, right?
exactly, and he made certain policies that actually make it worse on some poor people, but he tried his best, and I know he has the best at heart. And what he did with the health insurance is not far enough that where I wanted to go. But the reason why he didn't go far enough is not because he's an asshole. It's because the health insurance lobbyists have such power, and it would be ridiculous to believe that Donald Trump, who is of their ilk, he is a super rich guy, dude. Why do you think that this rich guy cares at all about anybody other than himself?
Obama does not care about the people of this country. He is not an American. He is not an American. He does not care about. Hey, I can tell you the difference. I have lived under Obama's rule for the last 7 years.
Me too.
Oh yeah, it has been 7 years, and I noticed a difference in this country. I noticed a difference in the economy, and I noticed a big difference in the way that people's attitudes are about the country. This country, after 9/11, was super patriotic. Not anymore. There's been a big change, and it started 7 years ago under this junior senator.
What does patriotism mean, and what do you mean Obama is not from this country? What does patriotism mean?
He's not. They claim he was born in Hawaii, but he there's there's signs up in Kenya that says "Welcome to Kenya, birthplace of Barack Hussein Obama." They can't prove that he was actually born in Hawaii, born in the U.S.
Okay, oh God, okay, now
That makes him illegal.
We're getting into surreal territory. First of all, my father-in-law, who recently passed away, grew up in Hawaii on Oahu, and he knows the Obamas, and he was born in the hospital that he was able to see when he was alive from his house. So this is undisputed. There are records. I mean, now we're talking about reality versus fiction.
Well, this is a matter of trusting the sitting authorities and
What?
and trusting someone who makes allegations, right?
Wait a minute, Arduenn, are you saying that they actually forged a birth certificate? And you know
They can.
No, I'm just saying it depends on who you trust. Do you trust the authorities who make birth certificates?
All right. How about the fact then, Drax, that when he went to Harvard, his student ID said Barry Soretto. It was him, and he said foreign student on it.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff a lot of information we probably get from the internet.
I think, Arduenn, let me just say that vaccinations cause autism. Isn't that true?
Well, that's also a misunderstanding. There's a lot of misunderstandings around.
What about the fact that I saw online that this former MTV star, and the name escapes me now, has proved that her son got autism because he was vaccinated?
I read that. I heard that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's true.
There's
Let's be clear.
There you
about
go.
that.
And that's, you have the internet as a source of truth. It's either you decide to believe something or not. Same goes for the birth certificate of Obama. You either believe something from the internet or from hearsay, or you believe the authorities.
just know what this country was like under Bush, under Obama.
Okay, let's talk about. You mentioned patriotism.
I'm telling you, hey, there's a world of difference between the two. between how they run the country.
I know that is absolutely undisputed. But you mentioned patriotism. You say people are not patriotic anymore. What does patriotism mean to you? How do you define it?
Love of country.
Uh-huh. And
Love of
what
the
do you
country.
love about the country? And what does it entail? Does it mean that you kick everybody who doesn't love the country out, or I mean,
No, it does
what is
not
the
mean
country?
that. That just means that and you fight all enemies, both foreign and domestic. That is
I
a
think that comes
military.
quite natural to any nation, right? If
Yeah,
there's
but it's
any
not.
other
It's
nation
but
who sort of is
patriotism
aggressor.
has been weakened here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then I'm not qualified to talk about this matter because I'm a humanist and I love the human race and I hate
I do
nationalism
too.
above absolutely everything. Nationalism is so ridiculous.
United Federation of Planets would be a good idea.
Nationalism killed in the 20th century. Nationalism killed in the 20th century 20 or more million people. I don't know. I'm not only talking about the Nazi regime, I'm talking about Stalin. All that stuff that happened is because of nationalism, and some people say you're better than others because you're born over here. That is just completely ridiculous.
It
I met
is.
somebody
I
in the
agree with you
park.
there.
I met somebody in the park here in Germany, and she said, "Well, you know, those Muslims that are coming here, frankly, they need to kind of adjust to our culture." And then I said, "What culture do you actually mean?" And she says, "Well, the German culture." And then I said, "What culture is the German culture? Is that the culture where you drink 5 beers in the morning and then throw up on
I'd
the
say the
subway?"
Deutsche Reinheitsgebot is quite an awesome thing.
No, but I mean, we got my point is we got to be careful about like, I think the world would. I mean, this sounds like all like super hippie, whatever. The world could be a better place if we all just get along. I'm not naive. There are people who are
Yeah, I would.
assholes. You see, Zach, what I'm saying? I'm not saying like there are not people that we gotta fight. There are people who are real fucking assholes,
Hmm.
terrorists and extremists and such of all color. We gotta be standing
And all
I
behind
think
them.
they
religions.
are in all nations quite equally distributed throughout the populations too. The assholes and the more caring
Well, you've
people.
got you've got extremists in the Christian faith too, just like you do in
Exactly.
Islam.
Exactly. You got people hiding with ammunition, waiting there for Jesus to come back and then shoot everybody else. I don't know what their mission is, but
But the,
absolutely.
the, the thing about nationalism is you're isolating yourself from the rest of the world, and that's actually you're very dependent on the rest of the world.
I don't
So
where we I don't look at it at nationalism as a sign of
patriotism.
weakness.
Hmm.
It's we America's been, whether it's right or wrong, has been a patriotic nation, nationalism nation, like you were just talking about.
Uh-huh.
And we've been flexing our muscle, right or wrong, over the rest of the world since World War II.
And that is a
Yes.
problem. That's a problem.
Yes, it is. I agree. I agree. It is a problem. But nationalism, we are a country that a nationalist country, like you were just talking about,
Yeah,
and it has not made us weak. We're not depending on anything else.
I think you do
We're
though. I think you do. You depend on China. You're buying everything at Walmart is made in China.
Oh,
Universal
stuff
oh
would be
Studios.
God,
horribly
no, yeah,
expensive if China
don't
were
get
in
me
there.
started on
The,
China.
exactly. You're completely dependent, Zach. Not you personally, but the country. And you know why? Because
Hmm.
of that misguided. I'm gonna give you the last word because we gotta wrap it up. But I want to say one more thing, um, which is that see, now I lost my train of thought. God damn it.
Same
uh,
Something
here.
about China and
Go ahead.
patriotism.
What is? Oh
I
yeah, no,
know
no, no,
there's
no, no,
a.
no. I wanted to say something about
He had something bold and daring to say.
right,
Well,
and
I
I
think.
have
that's
to agree with Zach though. I do love the old red, white, and blue.
well, you know what?
I prefer
Sorry,
I prefer
that, that was a
the
joke.
star the red, white, and blue, the stars and bars of the old South. But
Well, no, I
that's for
mean
another.
the red,
That's
white, and
another
blue of the
topic.
Dutch flag. But
Oh yeah, that is another topic because in the colors that you prefer, Zach, would have put my wife up on a tree in a noose, and I don't think that that's
uh,
funny. I know you're going to say, "Oh, the Confederate flag has nothing to do with racism," and I would say, yes, it absolutely does. It's the
It does.
ability.
It absolutely does. So does the American flag.
Okay, now I remember what I wanted to say earlier. You said Bush was good. Under Bush, everything was fine and dandy. Let's leave with this train of thought. The reason why
It
we
was
have
better.
okay, but you know why we have ISIS terrorism right now? You know why there is terrorism in Iraq? You know why they are over there or in Syria? It's because of the invasion
There's
of
this
Iraq.
power vacuum,
The,
right?
if Iraq
Yeah.
hadn't
This
been invaded, and I'm
emptiness.
not blaming this on Bush per se. I personally think Bush is way too dumb to have orchestrated this. It's the people behind him who had vested
Do you think
interests.
that Bush is too dumb to have orchestrated 9/11?
No, I don't believe Bush orchestrated 9/11. That's another crazy conspiracy theory.
I think the Saudis did it. There were a bunch of Saudis that were.
There was a
found.
bunch of Saudis. A bunch of Saudis did it.
they
Yeah.
were Bush's friends. Okay, maybe Bush orchestrated 9/11, but actually there is a joke. Some comedian told the joke once and said, you know why 9/11 is an inside job, doesn't really work because Bush is way too dumb to orchestrate it.
He's not the brightest bulb in the set. I'll give you
There's
that.
one thing for sure. That's the Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney guys who, whenever Bush got inaugurated, they had this plan laying for decades, maybe already, to topple Saddam Hussein, for instance, in Iraq, because they were a
Yeah,
thorn
they did.
in their eyes.
It's about.
Do you guys know that the Rothschilds are on the Bushes are on the Bushes?
That's the rich guy, right?
The
Yeah.
Rothschilds, the same guy that owned the. Now listen to this: the same guy that owned the Twin Towers. 2 months before the attack, he had terrorism insurance put on the towers.
Now that
Oh
stuff
yeah,
is
I've heard of
interesting.
that.
Yeah, that stuff
I,
is
I,
interesting.
I have another interesting detail.
As if he knew it.
But you know what? Wait.
September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
I was at work, and whenever that second plane plunged into those twin towers, and it became very clear this was a terrorist attack, a colleague of mine, whose wife is American, and she had a brother in the military, and he was stationed in Saudi Arabia. And on September the 10th, the American troops in Saudi Arabia were on full alert, absolutely full alert. For some reason, they didn't know, but something was going to happen. So something was known already, and, so whatever had been going on at September 11, and people pretend not to have known. I'm sure there's been a lot of information about this going on already around this, and there's you've got these secret services, and they don't tell everything at all.
I believe that it's possible that the United States government did 9/11 in order to get to Iraq, to get to the Kuwaiti oil, and Iraqi oil too.
Okay.
That's what a lot of Americans believe.
Okay, and then they would sacrifice the entire population because they are dying in dire poverty, and I don't have to tell you how the infrastructure in the U.S. is crumbling and all that. As a matter of fact, I saw a joke in a satiric magazine, The Onion, which said Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, The Onion.
The new Al-Qaeda plan is to sit back and relax while America self-destroys. And frankly,
Yeah.
if Osama bin Laden, that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted the U.S. so caught up in all this shit that they completely abandon any other domestic betterment for their own people.
There's a CIA
that
that said that he is still alive and on the CIA payroll.
I don't know.
He used to be, or his group used to be, because there was this war of Iraq against Iran, right?
No, they did the Mujahideen when Russia invaded Afghanistan
Okay.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
in the 1980.
Exactly.
Yes,
And,
against Russia, against communism. That was it. I'm mixing up stuff.
No, but Zach is right, and
Yes.
and I think what's important, and we can't change that now because it's in the past, but we may want to learn from it, is that the more we get involved with these things that look simple from the outset, like, oh, let's go in, let's do a regime change, and everything is fine, that creates
You've
more
got unwanted
problems.
consequences, like ISIS.
Okay, guys, I gotta wrap
May
up.
I remind
Last words, Ard.
May I remind you of this movie, Rambo 3?
I have never seen Rambo 3.
Rambo supports the Mujahideen and all the
Yeah.
Afghans against the Russians.
The original.
Yes.
The original.
Yeah.
I've never seen the third one. Is that good?
The third one's pretty much the U.S. supporting Bin Laden and Al Qaeda and the Mujahideen and whatever against the Russians, because it's the commies who were the real.
Well, we did the Mujahideen were trained by U.S.
Yeah.
There's also a talk about Al Qaeda, meaning the base, which means like a base of a bunch of people supported by trained by CIA. And, yeah, all your base belong to us.
I was going to say that.
Okay, I gotta wrap it up, Zach. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And you know what? I mean, we're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but I think if we
Maybe
can,
you should contact the Trump people here if next time.
no, I mean,
we could
I'm
get
gonna
a tour or
contact.
something.
I'm gonna contact all campaigns right now and say they should come to Second Life to have a civil discussion without beating each other over the head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk
Do
to
that.
any Bernie or Hillary representative and Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Especially Ted
Come
Cruz.
on in.
You mean Hillary, don't you?
We'll talk about Hillary next time. What did she kill now?
The people have been calling her Hillary because of Benghazi. That
You know, oh God, I got.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
the U.S. is a different country than anybody else.
Every country is different. The U.S. is certainly unique in many ways.
U.S. is to
but-
me the U.S. is a mix of so many cultures come together.
You know what's absurd?
It
though?
is because
Yes.
What
we
is-
don't have our own culture. You know, the U.S. culture is a mixture of everybody else.
Yeah, and
If
that's
you
the
ask
beauty
someone
of it.
where are
Listen-
you from, they start to mention their entire ancestry. I'm 1/3 Scottish. I'm
right.
2/3 Romanian or whatever, and then my great father moved to the U.S., etc.
Right.
So it's a wonderful,
Maybe next
wonderful
week I
mix.
can go over mine real quick with you because I've been
Yeah.
here my family's been here 407 years. Or
Wow.
408
Oh,
years.
that's pretty long. Yeah.
Wow, you came
We're
over
one
with the
of-
Mayflower. Are you kidding me?
No,
This
we
is
come over
amazing.
on the Phoenix. We were here in 1607.
That
Oh,
is
that's
amazing.
pretty early.
That is.
There's 33. There were 34 families on the Phoenix. It was the first. It was the first ship to the New World. The first.
From England or?
Yeah, from England. It was the first. Plus, there's a word I'm looking for.
There's, settlers.
Yeah,
pilgrims.
that's one out of four. Yeah, it was the first ship to Jamestown. And I've got
Yeah.
ancestors that was on that ship that helped build it.
That's amazing, and you
Oh,
can
that's
you can
neat.
trace it back. That's really cool. I love really tracing that back.
My brother is a historian. He traced Robert E. Lee's my family. Robert E. Lee, he traced his family all the way back to the 700s.
Amazing.
700s.
Yes,
That's pretty
AD.
rare too. Yeah.
Well, I was in Ireland once, and I saw my name Drax somewhere, and I go like, "What? Wow! What does that mean?" And they said, "Well," but I don't know. They had some records from 1100 with that name, but I
Wow.
there's like 500 years in between that I can't. Don't know where to get.
Well,
from there.
my ancestry is every country
Just
in the
the
British
name.
Isles, Spain, France, and maybe Portugal, and possibly Italy.
But Zach,
See,
this is
that's
amazing.
what I mean.
So yeah, I think I love
What I mean
those.
with being an American.
Right, but you know what? And what's
I'm
interesting?
an American. I'm not anything else.
Yeah, but you're not a Native American. Let me throw that.
No,
out there.
there's
Maybe
such a thing
there's
as a
some.
Native
I
American.
bet there's a little bit of Native American in him too.
No.
I've got
As a biologist, I can guarantee that.
But there
maybe
were-
I think he said we're like 164th Cherokee.
There you go.
I just wanted to throw that out there because this is a whole other question. What is actually American? There were people before, and they were murdered by some people who came in. Like it's very often the case when some new
The
people come in.
Vikings were probably clobbered by the first Native Americans.
But actually, they checked us back. The Chinese were here before anybody else was.
God
on
damn
this
them!
country.
They built Walmarts. I knew it. Fuck the Chinese. Okay,
There was two
Zach, I have to
two
wrap it up.
astronomer brothers sailed across the Pacific.
Yeah, Actually, the Walton family is actually Chinese, and they
Yeah,
just changed
exactly.
their name.
Okay.
Okay,
It sounds like a winner.
was great
Like
fun.
Bruce
I'm gonna
Lee.
quit the stream right now, and see you next week unless there is something happening with
Sorry,
me.
ran over.
Okay, guys. Bye.
All right.
Bye
Bye. Take
bye.
care.